Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Good evening, Texas. Good morning, Philippines. Welcome to Legal Treats. This is Aileen Legal Design. I'm an attorney licensed here in the state of Texas and in the Philippines. And I'd like to welcome my co-host for tonight. Let's bring in Krisha. Hello,
Hi
Krisha.
everyone. Hi attorney. Good evening, Texas. Good morning here in the Philippines. I hope you're doing good, attorney.
Oh, I am, and I hope you too. Since you're gonna be my co-host for tonight, I just want to say hi to Neska. Um, there's some technical issues, that's why we have Krisha filling in for today, but she may be able to join us too in a little bit. So, all right. Well, actually, I'm excited, Krisha, that you can join me tonight because we have a very interesting topic that we will talk about, and you might be interested also. Like not just for yourself, because legal treats. Here we share knowledge, legal knowledge, to the public. So the viewers, can ask questions regarding the topic, and you can do that one by posting your questions or greetings or shout outs on in the chat box, and we'll read them throughout the show. Right, Krisha?
Yes, and also attorney, just in any case that they missed this episode, then they can reach us in Lawin Media Network, in Facebook, also in YouTube. It would be much recommended to watch us in YouTube. Subscribe. Please don't forget to subscribe so you could follow us every week or every day for our show. Yeah, every day. And yeah, because in Facebook I think it's 30 days, right, attorney? They're going to do.
Yes, you're right. So the this live show will later be available as a recorded live show, but it will only be available in Facebook for 30 days. So that's why we encourage you to follow and subscribe Lawi Media Network YouTube channel so you can access those recorded live show even beyond the 30-day period. So yeah. And of course, if you miss the live show, we are available. You can listen to us in different podcasts, over 15 podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, and many more. So stay with us, stay tuned if you are here today. And if not, we're going to wait for you here. We're going to be here until maybe an hour show. If we have a lot of questions, then we will try our best to address those questions during the live show.
I think we will be getting a lot of questions regarding our topic today, attorney, because I myself
You
is
have a
very
lot of questions.
interested. Is very interested to our topic today.
Well, but before that, I want to ask what's keeping you busy this week, Krisha?
What's keeping me busy this week, this coming week, or this week itself, attorney?
Yeah, this week.
Mm,
Today's Friday. It's yay, Friday, right?
well, I just had my family outing yesterday, which it was so much fun. So thank you
What
to
did you
my
do? Where did you go?
in Swal. I'm not sure if you've heard of Swal Pangasinan, attorney, but
Yes, yes, I know that.
there is a newly opened resort which has a lot of multiple pools. So it is new. So a lot of people are making sure to stop by. So
Well, that's
that's
good
where.
to know. Yeah, I
What
mean,
about you, attorney?
what's keeping me busy is, of course, work. And but we have a 3-day weekend this weekend, which means Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because we're celebrating on Monday Memorial Day. So there's no school. It's a legal. It's a federal holiday. So that's why it's a long weekend. And usually during this time of the day, I mean the month, right? We hit the beach because it's not that hot yet, like sizzling hot during summertime, but it's also not that cold. So it's nice to go to the beach. If you went to a resort, we're going to the beach this weekend.
That would be nice, attorney. Also, I saw one of your posts wherein you became a model.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, that's actually interesting because it was only by invitation. It's more of like a private event at the official residence of the Consul General of Indonesia. So they are celebrating their culture, and it's called batik. And then there's a fashion show, and there's also a display of art and music. So we get to experience Indonesia in that short span of time. Yeah. So batik is it's a way of uh, like decorating their fabrics. I think it is also not common, but we are familiar with that kind of art in the south. Somewhere I think in the Mindanao area. So they have we have a version of that, but so there's a specific cloth or fabric, and then they put a design on on the cloth, and then you actually trace manually the design using a wax. So yeah, and then of course they dye it to, you know, to put some colors, and then we get to try to put it on their batik, uh, different ways to wear it. It's like in the Philippines, parang yung shawl ganon. I don't know what you call it. It's yeah, parang you can put it on top, you know, or tapis, however you do it. We have a specific term for that, but anyway, um, and then we had the opportunity to wear one of those. Me, I had the opportunity to wear one of those designs. Na damit na talaga. It's not just the fabric itself, and then we kind of model it, you know. So that was my first modeling career there. One awkward pose, one, you know, at a time.
Dapat pala humingi na ako ng ano, ng signature niyo, attorney, in person kasi baka mamaya nasa America's Top Model na kayo, hindi
hindi
umorder.
hindi hindi abot yung height natin, but unless mag-heels tayo ng mataas. Yeah. Well, actually, talking about culture, diba? Different countries, different communities, we have different cultures. Now, nowadays, because of the internet and, you know, the way we travel now, the world became smaller and we travel to different countries at any time. We meet people anywhere in the world online, and this gives us the opportunity to, you know, get to know a person from different country, from different culture. And then who knows, during that conversation, something is developed, right? Like interest, you know, start with friendship, and then later on you're already falling for each other, and who knows, it becomes a real full-blown relationship. And it's not impossible because you can always travel and go to one place from another place, or to meet each other wherever you want to meet, right? And this is very timely with our topic because, you know, going to our topic, it's about finding someone you love across the globe, you know. And and then the opportunity to meet each other, and the opportunity to develop that into a real relationship, and may lead to marriage, right, Krisha?
Yes, attorney, which is very interesting because there are a lot of ay, hala, nagde-delve na ako masyado sa topic pero nasa
I
introduction pa lang
know.
tayo. Ano ba, but it's really interesting kasi nagtatalo talaga yung opinion ng mga tao dyan. Like, they're claiming that it's really hard to find true love through the internet. But who knows, right? And by the way, attorney, just to inform you, your dear co-host is already here. So why don't we
Yes,
call?
let's put in. Nesca is here already, right? Come on, Nesca, join us. Join the conversation. There you are.
Yes, so bati muna ako. Good morning sa lahat ng mga nakikinig sa atin dito from the Philippines. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here from the Philippines. Good evening there in Texas. Good evening dyan sa inyo at Attorney Aileen. And yes, I've heard on Memorial Day you'll be having a long weekend because of the
Yes.
Memorial Day.
Yeah, usually makikita mo mga tao nasa beach because
Mhm.
like what I have mentioned earlier, hindi pa sobrang init. So pwede ka pang pumunta talaga sa beach in the morning. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, so magbe-beach din ba si Attorney Aileen during the
Secret.
weekend?
How about
Looking
you, Nes?
forward.
Natanong ko si Krisha kanina kung ano yung pinagkaabalahan niya. So nag-resort siya. How about you? How
Wow.
was your week?
Nanonood lang ako ng movie. Showing kasi yung Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yeah, inaabangan din namin dito yan.
Yan,
Pero
ako
kung
yung pambata.
sasabihin mo yung Final Destination,
Ano
Oh, I just watched that one, yung screening niya the other night.
Mm,
So we went there and we watched it. It was a good one. You just need to watch the previous movie so you'll understand
yeah.
this last movie. I believe this is gonna be the last one, right? So,
Wow.
but it's good. I love action movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Doon ako sa ano
Papanoorin ko rin yan
sa
after.
yung parang lagi kang mahuhulog sa upuan because it's always the action is there and hindi ka antokin sa movie na yan.
Totoo, you'll also have adrenaline when you're watching action movies.
Well, that's true. Anyway, so we are actually we started talking about the topic for today, Nesca, and we were talking about finding loved one across the sea, across the globe, right? And it's and sabi nga ni Krisha, it's difficult because of the distance, right? And plus different culture. But here's what I'm gonna say: even if you are in the same culture, it's not easy,
Yeah.
to be in a relationship because that's gonna be um, you have to have a lot of patience, a lot of willingness to understand each other because even if you grew up in the same culture, there's always a lot of differences in terms of point of views, perspective mo, yung paniniwala mo, yung kinalakihan mong family. As opposed dun sa magkaiba kayo ng culture. Actually, culture is a very difficult factor in a relationship kapag ka interracial ang marriage. So, but anyway, alam ko na maraming gustong itanong si Krisha at saka malamang si Neska din. Maraming sinulat na yan nilistang question. So, we'll talk more about that. We're going to start our conversation regarding fiancé visa. And I will share with you some of the stories of mga nakausap ko who went through the process and were successful. And I will also show you or share with you later on what could be the reason or what could be the reasons why the process will not be successful. So we'll see you in a bit after this short break. Stick around.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
And we're back. We still have Nesca and Krisha. Tamang tong dalawang tong pwede tong mag-tandem mag-partner Maraming mga tanong. O sige, anong unang tanong mo? Sino mo una? Si Nesca o si Krisha?
Si Nesca po.
O sige, Nesca, ikaw na daw. Nesca, muted ka. We can't hear you.
Okay. So, Attorney Aileen, what is fiancé visa and who is eligible to apply for the fiancé visa?
Well, good question, because that actually is the meat of our discussion for tonight is a fiancé visa. So we need to define who is a fiancé, right? Now, in the again, if you're gonna look into fiancé term, you're gonna look into the relationship. So. And nowadays, a fiancé could be anybody, right? We don't look into the gender anymore. It's a relationship. It's how you define yourself now. Most of the time, most of the countries, they recognize that. But of course, hindi naman pare-pareho. So let's just stay neutral at this time, okay? Fiancé is when you, if you already have a relationship with somebody, and you already proposed to that somebody, and you already have it, you already made a decision that in the near future you're gonna get married, you're gonna settle and get married. That's why you can call that person your fiance. Pag hindi pa, well, then maybe lover, boyfriend, girlfriend lang muna ang tawag mo doon, di ba? Pag tinawag ka na fiance, that means meron ka ng yes,
Sing-sing.
meron ka na yan. So, pag nagpapapicture ka na, lagi ka nakaganyan para makita yun. Yes.
So, Attorney, kailangan ba talaga yung sing-sing? I mean, do you really have to show that you have a ring?
Show to whom? To anybody? Well, that's actually it doesn't have naman. It's just, the ring is just a symbol, just to, it's sa iba it's important, sa iba it's not, so it depends on the person. Yung iba it has to be a diamond ring, yung iba okay lang kahit diba? So I think it depends on the person and whoever is giving that symbol of affection, symbol of promise to that you will get married, diba? So, and we love having symbols all over. Diba? Symbol ng love mo. Kaya nga meron tayong mga emojis because of all this. May mga symbol ng ng nararamdaman mo. We use all that all the time. So yeah, but it's not a requirement, but it is important.
What are the main requirements for U.S. petitioner and for the Filipino fiancé?
Grabe naman yung tanong na yan. Ang bilis naman. You jump agad into the important ones. Okay, una muna, of course, you have to find your fiancé, right? And when we say, kasi fiancé visa so most likely you are from different countries. Because you need to have a legal document that will allow you to come over here to the United States as a fiancé. Okay, so that means it's a legal document that you have to apply for that. You have to be approved. And once it's approved, then you can use that document to come over here and get married. In other words, yung short version yan. But what we're saying here is that the K1 visa, which is the fiancé visa, is only a temporary visa. And it's only valid up to, sige, nandun na tayo sa process 90 days. So, after 90 days, at hindi kayo nagpakasal, Kasi ng purpose nun kaya ka pupunta is for you to be together and get married here, right? Pag hindi natuloy yung kasal ninyo, something happened, nagbagong isip ninyo, then you'll have to go, the fiance, the foreign national fiance will have to go back to his or her country. Kasi hindi natuloy yung kasal. And that visa will expire in 90 days. Whether matuloy ang kasal ninyo, hindi, it will expire in 90 days. Now, pag nag-expire na yan, pero nakasal kayo, within that time period, then you may be able to adjust your status. You don't have to go back to your country because natuloy yung plano ninyo eh. But you need to do something again in order to legalize your stay. You need to file something before the USCIS to avail of the immigration benefits available for now a spouse of a US citizen. So iba na yon. Continuing ng process yon. But it starts with having that fiancé visa kasi yun yung ticket mo to enter the United States. So that's why it's important that application be filed and has to be approved before you can travel to the United States and be with your fiancé muna. Be with your fiancé and then get married. Yun.
With that said, attorney, if I may just ask, kasi we were talking about rings earlier. So, kung magfa-file ka for an application for a fiancé visa, tinitignan ba nila as a requirement or like parang as a symbol yung ring that you are really engaged to this person?
Maybe not. Actually, so let's go to the process first so that you will understand. The U.S. citizen fiance who is here in the United States will have to apply for a fiancé petition for the fiancé, right? So it has to be filed here. Must submit the application. Must submit all the supporting documents. And once you have convinced the USCIS that your relationship is authentic, meaning you have a real relationship, not a fraud one, then the USCIS will approve that petition. And once it's approved, it will send that notification of approval to the embassy there in the Philippines. And then once the embassy receives that, the process now is going to be called consular processing. They will inform the petitioning fiance here that it has already been approved and they have to continue the process online to apply for the visa. And will also notify the fiance there in the Philippines that it has already been approved and they need to finish or they need to continue the application online. The application online is for the visa itself to be issued. So once they have completed the form, submitted all the requirements, and it's approved, then the embassy there will contact the fiance in the Philippines to notify that person and schedule an interview. Okay, and that's what you're gonna be prepared. You have to prepare for if you are the fiance. Sometimes nakakatakot, nakaka-nervous, diba? Because paano if I did not pass the interview, right? And I think that's where your question is gonna come in. What do I need to do to bring to the interview to convince the officer that you're the person, you're the right, you are the person who actually is a fiance of that U.S. Citizen who filed a petition for you, and that that the relationship is authentic, and that you are qualified for that to receive that visa. You're eligible to receive that visa. So then you'll have to bring some. Usually, when you attend the interview, you have to bring some documents, especially the original documents, just in case the officer will ask for it. Okay. We lost Nesca, but anytime Nesca is back, just put her back in. I know I think there's some power issues in her area there in the Philippines. So, and it happens. So, and that's okay. All right. So, now
This is a famous show.
I
It went
watched
viral.
some of the episodes of that, the
Me.
90 Day Fiance,
Yeah.
and it's true, and that's actually a reality show because that's what can happen. Not exactly the same situation, right? But the process is the same, you know. But the eligibility, the challenges, may have the same challenges, but different as well. That's why when you watch this show, you will see different couples, different situations, right? Some people, some couples, they end up successful. Like when I say successful, they end up getting married. Some couples, they decided to, this is not for me, I'm gonna go back to my country. So that's not a successful one, right? So what I'm saying is, going back to the process, once the fiance was approved during the interview, then she will be issued a fiance visa. And once the fiance visa is issued, you have 6 months to pack your bag and travel to the United States.
But what are the instances, attorney, that your application will be denied?
Um, Actually, this is a very important question, Krisha, because when we say application, that's a first. Actually, we're talking about two things: the application for issuance of for approval, actually the petition for a fiance, a K1 visa. Once it's approved, remember I told you there's also an online application for the visa itself, the travel document. So dalawang level yon. The first one is the petition itself of the yung fiance mo, the U.S. citizen who's filing that petition for you, so that you can get a visa to come over here. Now, most of the time, if the document, the filing, the form itself is not the correct form, that could be a ground for the denial, because the form, the the K1 form, it's I-129F, must be the latest one, the latest form. Pinapalitan nila kasi yon, ina-update nila yon from time to time. So you have to make sure that that is the current version. Because if it's the old version, they will send it back to you when you file the application or your petition. So that's one thing. Now, the other reason could be that you did not pay the correct fees. Because there is a USCIS fees that you have to send to with your application packet to the USCIS, right? And they're very strict on that one, whether it's less than or more than, um, they will send it back to you. They will reject your filing. It has to be exact. Hindi pwedeng kulang ng kahit piso lang or 1 cent, kulang pa rin yon. Or nag-over ka ng 1 cent, sobra pa rin yon. So it has to be exact amount. So that's important because they will not process it if you did not pay the correct fees. Now, the other reason could be that they were not convinced that you have a relationship. And there's a lot of factors that you have to look into that, because you have to convince a USCIS officer that you have a relationship, your relationship is authentic, and that you really are, intending to get married. And the other thing is, you've seen each other already in person. Because if you haven't seen each other in person, it will raise a doubt or a red flag on the part of USCIS processing it, because who's going to get married with somebody you haven't met in person? But it doesn't mean it will be denied because of that. But that is a big consideration. And that's why when you file your application, you fill up your application, it will ask you there's a question there that will ask you whether you've seen each other in person, you've met each other in person. That means the United States, I mean the USCIS, no, the US citizen fiance has already traveled to the Philippines and met the fiance in the Philippines, the family stay there for a few days. There's already that interaction, personal, on a personal level.
I think, attorney, it's important. I think it's time for us to emphasize our engagement to our viewers. Personally, I have a questions sa lahat ng nanonood, might it be in Texas or in the Philippines or kung nasaan man kayo. My question would be, do you think it's possible to fall in love to someone you haven't met in person? So, sa mga nakikinig dyan, mag-comment kayo and we will be...
Tanong natin si Nesca bago tayo mag-break. Hi, nawala si Nesca. Yan. So, Nesca, ang tanong ni Krisha, is it possible to fall in love with somebody you haven't met in person? That means you met online. Is it? What do you think, Nesca? Ay, naku, na frozen si Nesca. So, we'll ask her when we come back. We'll take a short break. All right, well, stick around.
Hello sa mga kababayan natin dyan sa Texas. Meron po kaming show ni Desa sa June 14 sa Gaylord Texan and Convention Center. So dun po sa mga bibili ng tickets, lalagay ko po dyan sa ating caption. So magkita-kita po tayo with Desa sa June 14 dyan po sa Texas. See you!
And we're back. And of course, we're still here in Legal Treats. And we're talking about fiance visa. And there was a very interesting question that Krisha asked before we took a break. And I'd like Nesca, if Nesca is already not frozen, to answer the question. Is it possible to fall in love with someone you haven't met in person? Nesca, are you good? Is the internet still acting up? Looks like it is. So, anyway. Sige, tatanungin kita, Krisha. What do you think?
Wala, ako yung nagtanong, ako yung sasagot.
Sige, ako na. Based on my experience, based on my clients na nag-undergo sa process na yan, it is possible that you can fall in love with someone you haven't met in person, but online. And that's because you are talking online, you are learning, about each other online, your interests, your whatever it is that makes you happy, that person happy. And actually that's where your relationship starts to develop. So that's why when I asked during my consultation, tinatanong ko, so when did it elevate to a boyfriend-girlfriend status? Because you were just talking, di ba? Nag-usap lang kayo, chatting, ganyan. Parang texting din yun eh. But you're not seeing each other, di ba? But there you can see each other, maybe video chat, di ba? And that's a good thing about the technology now. You can actually see the person you're chatting with on the other end of the computer, right? On the other side of the computer. So, but that, yeah, through talking, through constant communication, sharing your interests with each other, sharing your emotions, when you're down, when you're sad, you have somebody to talk to. That's when the relationship starts to develop. And then later on, it will, develop into a boyfriend girlfriend kind of relationship. So yes, The answer to that question is yes. Now, as to whether you're going to step up to the next level, it's up to you. And that's why some people, in order for them to level up, they plan to meet each other in person. Kasi iba na yun eh, pag nag-meet na kayo in person. And that's why going back to the picture of that 90-day fiance, si Big Ed, and this is his new fiance because I saw him with the previous one, and that one didn't it wasn't successful, didn't result to getting married. I'm not even sure if the fiance went here or it ended in the Philippines. But this one, I believe what happened here is it was a kasi si Big Ed meron na siya experience eh, 'di ba? So what happened here is he proposed to the new fiance, to the new girlfriend, to the new fiance within 24 hours. That's why I want to relate that sa question ni Krisha na posible ba yun? 24 hours pa lang kayo magkilala, magpo-propose ka na, posible ba yun? Well, I'm not sure if this is already done or you've watched this episode ng 90 Day Fiancé Visa. But Jewel said here, can we flash
Is it
that back up? Red flag, Big Ed proposes within 24 hours. It is very red flag. Why? Because um, when the fiance attends the interview there at the embassy, U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, the officer there, the goal of the officer is to um, determine whether the relationship is real. No, is it really true that you're getting married? Is it really there, or is this just being used as an avenue to go to the United States, something like that? That's why there is always a red flag for very young relationship. Tapos you decide, oh, we're gonna get married. No, that's why when we process fiance visa application, during the consultation, I always ask, how long is your relationship? How long have you been engaged? How long have you been in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship? Because if it's less than 2 years, it's red flag. It's a red flag. But that doesn't mean it's not true, right? That doesn't mean it's not authentic. That doesn't mean you're not gonna get the visa. It's just that when we say it's a red flag kind of a relationship, that means they will dig deeper into your relationship. They will scrutinize more your application. So it is your job to convince the officer that it's authentic, it's true, that you really are engaged. At hindi lang kayo nagpapanggap. Or for convenience purposes. Yeah. So that's
super
actually very
informative?
important. And you see it naman. The good thing about this shows, reality shows, is you can see what's going on, the real deal. You know that it is a serious matter. It is a serious relationship. It affects not just the two of you, but your family. Yung family mo, yung family nyo dito. Because they're gonna be involved. But again, it doesn't mean na hindi totoo kung shorter period lang because there are some cases na it's less than 2 years, and as long as the officer is convinced that you are in a relationship and that you are really intending to get married and you love each other for sure, then there's a stronger chance that it will be approved. Ayan.
We also
There's
have
another
another
question here,
question.
Krista.
Can the fiance bring her 3 kids from previous partners? So,
So
wow,
this
that's
is
a
a
lot of
question from
partners.
Bonds. Yeah, from Bonds the second. Ang question niya is, can the fiance bring the 3 kids from previous partners? So, in this situation, the Filipino fiance um, have minor children from a previous relationship, not necessarily from a previous marriage, because kapag you're married, your status in the Philippines is married, you cannot be granted a fiance visa because there is an impediment to that. Definitely, hindi kayo makakasal kung merong impediment because bigamous marriage here in the U.S. is a crime. It's not allowed. So you have to be single in status. At kung sakali man you had a previous marriage, it was already legally annulled. But then you have children, minor children from that marriage. The question is, if ever your fiance here applied for a fiance visa and it was approved, can you also bring your minor kids? The answer here is yes, you may, as long as you comply with all the requirements. You know, you file a different application, and they are um, the application is complete and it's approved. Then yes, definitely. But it's not automatic. You have to file a separate application for them. So
Kahit hindi pa
lots of
sila kasal, attorney.
documentations and of course money fees for the application fees for each person.
Kahit hindi pa sila kasal.
Mm, mm, Kahit hindi pa sila kasal, you know, because ang reason is magpapakasal sila dito. That's why you are getting a visa for your fiance. And because they're minor kids, she can bring them. And once they're here, let's say yung 3 kids na yan, na minor kids, sinama niya dito papunta sa US nung na-approve ng visa niya. And then eventually they got married, di ba? So then that spouse na, kasi nagpakasal na sila, you know, can now adjust her status to a legal permanent resident, yung tinatawag nating green card holder. And that also includes the children. So the children get to stay here also, and they can get their green cards as well. And once they got their green card, it is now a path to citizenship. So once they complied with all the requirements and they're eligible to apply for naturalization, then they can naturalize also and become a citizen. Become citizens lahat sila. Now we have a picture here of a person whom I'm not familiar with. So tell me, Krisha, sino ba ito?
Well, according to our technical director in the background, this is Big Ed. Oh,
Dati?
wow.
Oh,
Yes, that's a
wow.
surprise.
Parang
Shocking.
hindi parang wow, what happened?
May leeg pa
The
siya dito,
burgers and
attorney.
fries and pizza, right? So anyway, that's interesting to know. So Jewel Bakani has a question here. So she asked, which is better, K1 or
I
I-130?
130.
So again, these are technical terms that if you're not familiar with the process, these are just bunch of letters and
Codes.
numbers, right? So we have to
Yes.
define.
So
K1
K1 is
is
fiance.
a visa application, visa yan for fiance. So you're applying for a visa for your fiance. Ang I-130 naman is you're applying for you're petitioning your spouse. So doon na lang muna tayo mag-stop, no? Yung isa fiance, yung isa spouse. So pag nagpakasal kayo, let's say si Big Ed, 'di ba? Pumunta ng Philippines. Sabi niya, you know what? Dito na tayo magpakasal. I wanna do it now. Within 24 hours din, kailangan makasal tayo. So they got married in the Philippines. So when Big Ed comes back to the United States, he's not gonna file for a K1 anymore. He will file most likely for I-130, which is a petition for immediate relative, and in this case, a spouse. So that's a big difference. Now, which is better? It depends on your situation for sure. All right. So now let's go back to our discussion. So ano na ang gustong malaman ni Krisha pag nakarating na dito ang fiance? Pag nakarating, let's say Krisha, you have a fiance here in the United States. Sarap, no? Ano tayo? Mag-storytelling. Ikaw na magkwento. Ikaw na gumawa ng kwento. Tapos papasok ako pag nandito ka na. Go ahead, Krisha.
For example, attorney, may pending ako na annulment here in the Philippines. Pero sa process na yon ay na-engage ako with a US citizen. So, what will happen if pwede pa ba ma-process yun? Kasi parang waiting for verdict na lang ang court kung annulled na ba or hindi pa. So,
Oh, okay. So you're saying na parang there's an impediment. because
Mm.
ka pa free to get married. So even if there's already a pending case, as long as it's not confirmed yet, it's not granted yet, you are not legally um, annulled, then there is an impediment. And if there's an impediment, then you cannot file for that because that's one of the requirements. So make sure wala impediment. Kasi even if you already have a pending annulment case there, you're not yet sure if it's gonna be granted. And what if it's not? So then you'll commit bigamy, which is a crime, and which is a big no in terms of immigration. Um, Kaya do not ever do that, kasi when you apply for naturalization later on, citizenship, it's one of the questions there. You know, if you engage in a bigamous marriage, because it's a crime. Now, the reason why I'm emphasizing this because recently had a client. Um, they in the country they are allowed to have multiple marriages. Okay, so that's what happened, of course, because it's allowed in their country, but it's not allowed in the United States. So there was a problem now as to whether that person can naturalize because it's not recognized here in the United States. Also, let's say, for example, you're already married there in your country and you're allowed to get married again, multiple marriages, and you got married in the United States with somebody. It the US USCIS will consider that as bigamous marriage because you are married twice and you don't want that to happen. So it's better for immigration purposes. In order for you to avail of immigration benefit, you have to legally terminate that other marriage before you can get married here in the United States.
Which is more practical, attorney? Get married there in the United States or here in the Philippines?
Well, practicality is very subjective because practical on the side of whom, diba? Now, if it's you, Krisha, and your family is in the Philippines, and you're a very sentimental person, you want to get married in the Philippines because you want your family to attend your big day, your most important day, right? So, is it practical for you? Probably not. If you're gonna go to the United States and bring all of them here just to attend your your wedding, right? So it depends on which point of view you are looking at, and it depends on the goal of the couple, your goal and your fiance, di ba? Some people just to save some money because you're starting a family. It depends yung situation mo din, tsaka financial status niyo pareho, di ba? Some people what they do is they come here on a fiance visa, they get married here on a civil wedding, and then they go back to the Philippines later on to have another, like a church wedding where everybody, the family members can attend that wedding. And is that allowed? Of course it is allowed. Why not? It's the same person you're marrying, right? You can
But
marry
in,
one person many many times but not marry many many people.
but in terms of processing for example, the K1 or I-130. So because the one is for fiance and one is for spouse. So which one is much easier to be granted, attorney?
Well, kaya nga tatanungin mo yon kung okay ba na magpakasal na kami sa Philippines or okay ba na sa US naman kami magpakasal. Now, again, I'm gonna have to answer like a lawyer. It depends, right? But in some cases or in most cases, siguro I'll just tell you, in most cases, what they do is they file for a fiancé visa. They find it faster as opposed to an immediate relative filing or I-130. And that's maybe because the requirement is less than the requirements for I-130 because you're not yet married there, right? You're going to get married here. So the only thing you need to prove to the USCIS officer or the interviewer there at the embassy is that, you know, you have an authentic relationship and that you have plans to get married. You're already really engaged and you can support that. You can prove that. And then once you're here, you get married within 90 days. So then the fiance who is now a spouse once they get married here don't can stay, and she or he doesn't have to go back to the Philippines in this case. Um, he or she can stay here and file adjustment already. So you can file your adjustment, becoming a legal permanent resident, and then after 3 years of receiving your green card, you can already you may be eligible already to apply for naturalization. Now, that being said, I just want you also to know that if you got, because you're gonna get married here within 90-day period, right? You got married here in 90-day period, and then after, let's say, a few weeks, or let's say 1 month, after 1 month you of getting married, you applied for your U.S. citizen spouse applied for uh uh well, not really applied, but you applied for you as the fiance who is now married to your U.S. citizen husband, right, or spouse, can now file for adjustment, which is your green card. Now, your green card may be issued in less than 2 years, meaning to say, the average processing time, you know, is around 8 months. So 8 months from that time, let's say lang 8 months, you will receive your green card, your legal permanent resident card. So it means yung card mo was issued in less than 2 years. Now, if it is issued less than 2 years from from your marriage, they will only issue you a temporary one, a temporary green card, and that's why there's another process uh, to do legal process, which is to remove that temporary status para mapalitan siya ng permanent one, which is yung 10-year period na green card. So even if 5 years na, 6 years na, okay pa rin, you have your green card. But that's only if you're able to remove that temporary status. Kaya yung iba, they think na, okay, well, because I still have to file a removal of the temporary status to get my permanent green card, I have to stay married with that person, with my spouse. Walang problema kung okay pa kayo, you're happily married, you're building your family, you're looking forward to a more stable relationship, a longer marriage, right? What if it's the opposite, you know? And and it's not healthy for you anymore to stay in that marriage, or the US citizen spouse filed a divorce against you na hindi mo pa nalilift yung temporary status ng green card mo. That's another discussion that we can talk about next Friday. Because it's a little bit more complicated. Not really complicated, but medyo mahaba-habang usapan din yon. Pero there's always a solution. And that's why it's important that if you are in a situation where whatever you do is important because it affects your status, especially your immigration status, it's always best to consult with an attorney who is specializing in that kind of case, or handling cases like that, so that your right will be protected and you know the right thing to do and not jeopardize your immigration benefits. Hindi na
I
nakabalik si
agree.
Nesca. Ay, yeah, pero ayaw mo Nesca. You can watch the recorded live show sa YouTube channel ng Love and Media Network, at alam mo na yan.
Also, to our viewers out there, to add to what Attorney Eileen said, just in any case you miss this episode, you are more than free to reach us out in Lawin Media Network Facebook page or in our YouTube, Twitch, and you can also listen to our recorded audio in different podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google, and so on and so forth.
Yes,
But
yes. Mm-mm. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to uh, put it on the chat box. And if you want to suggest a topic that we can talk about, feel free to do that as well. Because if we can do it, why not, right? This is
Yep.
our advocacy. This is our form of giving back to the community. We're sharing legal knowledge for free. So please share it also with whoever you think will need it. So you, whoever you're watching it right now, you may or may not need it right now. But again, these are important information that we are giving to you, as part of our advocacy. Here's some legal treats. All right. So, any more questions, Krisha?
Another question, attorney, but I think I already have the answer to the question earlier.
Okay, sige
kung
ano
na,
yan?
kung possible ba na ma-in love ka sa taong hindi mo pa nami-meet in person. Personally, I know people who fell in love sa hindi pa nila nakikita in person, but I believe na it's not going to work out kasi there are a lot of factors that you are not able to see kasi virtual lang naman kayo nag-uusap. Posibleng switch siya sa'yo sa chats, sa messages, sa calls. Pero paano 'pag nagsama na kayo sa isang bubong? So, those are things na hindi natin basta-basta malalaman, ah, unless nandun na tayo sa sitwasyon talaga and baka nga sabi dito, "Love knows no borders, only hearts." Okay. So, ako lang yung nagdi-disagree.
Ang totoo niyan, it's not like it's a certain thing that there's nothing is certain, Krisha. Even if you already know the person, you think you already know the person, there will always be challenges on the way. All the time, kahit na 30 years na kayong magkasama, 40 years na kayong magkasama, 50 golden years na kayong magkasama, meron at meron pa ring challenges yon. Now, I think the only difference is that in between a young relationship and a longer relationship na is the stability. Because you've already probably learn each other, kung ano yung ayaw ng isa, yung gusto ng isa. And then, now the challenge is the willingness to adjust na. Kasi you are two different individuals eh. Magkapatid ng lumaki sa isang bahay, nag-aaway eh, di ba? How much more yung lumaki kayo sa magkaibang bahay? Magkaiba yung family na makeup ninyo, magkaiba yung culture ninyo, magkaiba yung language ninyo, magkaiba yung status ng buhay ninyo. There's a lot of factors that could really shaken your relationship, but it depends on you, the two of you. If you want to make it work, it takes two to tango. But along the way, you will step on each other's foot. you know
Wow, that's
and
very
that
well said.
so nasa sa inyo na yon, how are you gonna dance along with those challenges around you.
One thing is
So
for sure, attorney.
mhm.
One thing is for sure, after this episode, I'm going to share this specific episode to someone I'm very close with, na parang kanina pa niya hinihintay itong masagot kasi siya yung parang bumubulong sa akin sa paligid ko eh. Na,
Hindi ka ikaw yun.
hindi.
Okay
But,
lang, ikaw naman. Pwede mo nang i-reveal kung ikaw yun. Hindi, anyway. Pero it actually that matters. So you have a very strong point. Kasi and that's the reason why when you attend an interview with the officer there in the embassy, yun ang una nilang may mga red flags. Katulad niyan, if you haven't met each other, how did you decide to be with each other for the rest of your lives, diba? So that's why you have to show proof. You have to uh, make sense doon sa officer that this is real. It's a real thing. So yun. That's actually one of the difference. But kapag ka young, yung relationship kapag ka hindi pa ka nagkita in person, you know, kasi nga they know the challenges. They know how it develops into a relationship deeper than just knowing each other. But then again, of course, it's not impossible to develop that love. I don't know if sabi nila love at first sight. Do you really believe in love at first sight, Krisha? Parang hindi
Honestly,
ikaw eh,
no.
no? Not that type of So,
Are
ano,
you? Do you? Do you?
so
Do you?
hindi ka naniniwala kay Romeo and Juliet, no? Because that's 11%. Hindi ka rin naniniwala sa Titanic kay Leonardo, kay Jack at saka kay Rose. But anyway, that's another topic that we can discuss. I know. Now, feel free to share us your opinion, whether you believe in love at first sight and whether you believe in, you know, be getting married even if you haven't seen each other in person. Ito nga maganda to. Love knows no borders, only hearts that beat in unison. Talaga ba? Do you really feel that it beats in unison? Anyway, it's always
Meron
subject
din,
to debate.
meron din sa ticker attorney sabi, this code encapsulates the essence of the visa application process, uniting two people from different countries through love, with the intention of building a future together. Well, I really hope it's love.
Yep, really hope it's loved, but again, love can be developed, but it start with having the interest to know the other person. But that's not our topic anymore. So, but it's already time again. So I hope that we're able to spark curiosity from you. And if you have more questions, let us know. And if you have any suggestions, what you want us to talk about, let us know. But from here, we're gonna see each other again next Friday, same time, same place, 6:30 here Central Time. Saturday in the Philippines, 7:30 a.m. So hanggang sa muli, we'll see each other next Friday. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, attorney.
Bye.